Okay, what is up, our friends of film fandom, wherever you may be, however you may be watching and or listening. We appreciate you all being here and giving us just a little bit of your time. We are, of course, the harsh truth, and I am obviously not Frank. But thankfully, weird change of timetables and whatnots. I thought I lost my two other space crewmates, but thankfully one of them at least showed up on right on the buzzer. And that, of course, is the actual Frank here to talk to me about this awesome 90s movie, which I'll make him admit at some point, I'm sure. But we have Frank in the house. And how are you this evening, sir?
Yeah, you know he is not the real Frank because he still has hair, and he's not nearly as gray. So if you ever need the telltale sign that he is actually not Frank, those are the things you look for.
Yeah, that's the measurements we're going with. I mean, sure. Oh Lord, I'm gonna tell you, I was sweating bullets there for a good 15 minutes. Thankfully, hey, look at that. I'm not even going to count you or me being here first, but my mom is here, so hello to you. And yes, you know what? I will get to tell you about the movie because, like I said, Frank came in for the last minute save. Spoilers. I don't know if that's true or not, but whatever. Hey, look at that. My wife's in here too. Okay, all the important people are here, and there's no Casey, so it's a good start. Oh Lord Jesus, where's even stuff at? Thumbnail. There we go. All right, but like I said, if you read the title or the description, if you're one of those weirdos, we are here talking about Apollo 13. Apollo 13 is a 1995 American docudrama film directed by Ron Howard, starring Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, Bill Paxton, Gary Sinise, Ed Harris, and Kathleen Quinlan, and is an adaptation of the 1994 book Lost Moon, The Perilous Voyage of Apollo 13 by astronauts Jim Lovell and Jeffrey Kluger. The film tells the story of astronauts Lovell, Jack Swigert, and Fred Haise aboard the ill-fated Apollo 13 for the United States' fifth crewed mission to the moon, which was intended to be the third one to land. En route, an onboard explosion deprives their spacecraft of much of its oxygen supply and electrical power, which forces NASA's flight controllers to abandon the moon landing and improvise scientific and mechanical solutions to get the three astronauts back to Earth safely. Released in theaters in the United States on June 30th, 1995, Apollo 13 received critical acclaim and was nominated for 9 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, winning Best Film Editing and Best Sound. In total, the film grossed over $355 million worldwide during its theatrical releases and becoming the third highest grossing film of 1995. It is listed in the New York Times Guide to the Best 1,000 Movies Ever Made, which came out in 2004. On Rotten Tomatoes, 94% of 147 critics' reviews are positive, with an average rating of 8.2 out of 10. The website's consensus reads, quote, "In recreating the troubled space mission, Apollo 13 pulls no punches. It is masterfully told drama from director Ron Howard, bolstered by an ensemble cast of solid performances." And I totally just missed my mouse to get the thumbnail off there. But, yeah, I think I can agree with all the words that came out of my mouth. And after my terrible Chris Tucker impersonation, Frank, what's give me your, I know you get what I meant. Give me your quick thoughts on Apollo 13 for a really deep dive into space here.
Yeah, I agree with all the words that just came out of your mouth. it's you know what's funny? It's like between this and Titanic, and I think one or two others that were kind of smaller productions. There was a span in the mid late '90s where they came out with a lot of true story things like this that were all very very good. and you know, I was just looking at Box Office Mojo. There's actually in calendar grosses for 1995, only one movie did better than this movie. And that was Batman Forever, and that's a crime in and of itself. But it beat other things like the first Toy Story, which is an epic movie.
Same here.
Yeah, I mean, Dangerous Minds, GoldenEye, one of the Bond movies, things like that. So, yeah, Outbreak, Braveheart. Some of these movies. Jumanji. It beat out some of these movies that are iconic in their own right. Yeah, it's a fantastic movie from start to finish. I mean, I've always been a little annoyed at what I've realized over the years are some of the differences between how it really went down and what was portrayed. But I always end up reminding myself that you have to make it theatrical, and sometimes the things are important but not necessarily fun to watch, interesting to watch. So you have to do that. So I've gotten kind of past that, but yeah, this is a fantastic movie all around.
I like how you say Batman, but yet you are in fact wearing a Batman shirt right now. Are you sure you're not trying to tell me something?
Quite sure. Yeah, original Batman. Keaton, Burton, Batman, not the crazy neon, whatever the hell they did with it after they left.
Yeah, after 1992, I don't think we talk about it in high regard. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, but yes, for me, like I said, I think it's a great movie, and yeah, you do have to. While this kind of situation is, probably pretty riveting on its own, like yes, you do have to make things cinematic and make it, dramatized a little bit. And I mean, I wasn't there. I can't claim to know what happened, but and we'll keep the did we really go to the moon talks for a different podcast. I'm like, my mind started to go there. I'm like, let's leave that on a different table. But yeah, in terms of that, I think it's a solid movie. Solid 90s movie too. It's crazy to think about what else, like you said, what else came out that year. I think halfway through I realized, oh shit, Toy Story came out the same year too with Mr. Hanks in the pilot seat.
Yeah, he was busy on that year, wasn't he?
Pretty busy there in the 90s, which is a very true statement. Well, I guess first I'm going to put this up since I managed to find this about 10 minutes ago. The reason we are, in fact, reviewing this movie is, if no one has heard, the real-life Jim Lovell recently passed away at the age of 97, which is crazy. I'd love to think that we all make it to 97, but I mean, of all people, that's pretty impressive. And we'll take this one. He was, as if it's not a surprise how many people from Ohio are astronauts, but he is in that club. I don't know what it is about Ohio that makes you want to leave the Earth, but I mean, it's probably something, and I can probably attest to it. Maybe when I turn 97, I'll just wish I had left the Earth as well. Oh, crap.
I'm really feeling kind of mad that one of us didn't dig that meme out, because I've seen that meme all over the place so many times.
I don't want to live in this planet anymore.
Well, the one I saw, and I see it floating around the internet, usually Facebook, kind of here and there. It's like it's a cornfield, and there's a guy in a full astronaut getup, the whole suit with the helmet and all that, sitting on a suitcase, and it says more astronauts come from Ohio than any other state. What is it about Ohio that makes people want to leave the planet? And I'm like, well, yeah, I don't know. How long do you have for me to go into this? But I'm not coming across a copy of it that I can use. So
that, or we do have a lot of presidents. So whatever it is about it that makes you want to go into politics or make you leave the Earth, I'll leave that up to you. I don't know what it is. Maybe one day I'll figure that out. Lord, let's get a nice shot of the ship here. First thing is the works of Ron Howard, who, I mean, I would say old heads, but I mean, even, no offense, but older than you. I mean, my mind goes to Opie, but I mean, that's not really he's done some crazy stuff over the years. Pretty big name in Hollywood. So what do you think about Ron Howard's work and what he did for this movie?
This movie was phenomenal. I mean, it's really, I give credit to you guys like Howard and Cameron for taking a story that everybody already knows and making it so cinematic and so watchable. It's like, it's easy for us, especially this day and age. Even back in 95 when this came out, when the internet was becoming a thing and more people had the internet, and they could just go Google it.
I think that is the exact year it became a thing, actually, Windows 95.
Yeah, it's the fact that you could tell this and make it such a cinematic, awesome story, and I could watch this like I have never heard the story before, is phenomenal. Ron Howard has that. He has that ability to turn pretty much any story into something extremely awesome. He is a fantastic storyteller. As much as I've liked him as an actor, I grew up watching, Happy Days and Syndication. I grew up watching, Mayberry in syndication and all that. And of course, one of my favorite movies of all time is American Graffiti. I love that movie. It's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, as a director, he's an amazing storyteller. I mean, this movie alone it was nominated for a bunch of Oscars. I don't think it won nearly enough. But I mean, even before this, leading up to it, Splash, a great movie. Cocoon, which is one of the underrated movies of the 80s. I think people have forgotten about that movie. That's a great movie. Gung Ho, which is a great comedy in the early days of Michael Keaton. Willow, which despite the TV show being not so great, that's one of the few fantasy movies. That's one of the few fantasy movies that I've always really gotten into. I'm not really a big sword and shield kind of guy, but Willow has always been a great movie. Parenthood is one of my favorite movies of all time. My personal favorite movies of all time. Backdraft. And then he does this movie, and then since then little movie called A Beautiful Mind, fantastic movie. Cinderella Man, fantastic movie. Frost Nixon is a movie that I think went way under the radar, and not enough people talk about that movie. That is a fantastic drama. It's just two guys sitting across from each other, and just dialogue back and forth. I mean, it was great acting on both sides of that. He came in, and one of the things I got to give him a lot of credit with is he came in kind of halfway through the Solo movie that we talked about recently. And after saying he would never do a Star Wars movie or never do a comic book movie because he just didn't want the kind of chaos that comes with it, stepped in and made that movie, like I said, a movie that I didn't really care to see, but actually turned out to be pretty good. Now, I don't know how much of that was him, how much of that was Lord and Miller that ended up their final stuff was in there. But I mean, this guy, he's just so good at everything. And of course, the Da Vinci Code movies with Tom Hanks, I think are fantastic. I have a big problem with the ending of Inferno because it was so different from the book, but that's neither here nor there. But he's made so many fantastic movies. He gets great people together. I mean, early in his career, Val Kilmer in Willow, Steve Martin in Parenthood, and then the cast of Backdraft is almost as good as the cast in this movie. Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind, the cast in that movie, Cinderella Man. It is he draws talent to him, and when they want to come work with a great director, the talent gets even better. The performances are even better. He's one of the guys that makes films better just by having his name attached to it.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the greats. He's got the gift for it. Like you said with this, like you can tell one hell of a story. Even looking at Apollo 13. Yeah, I mean, you kind of went through the list. I mean, I'm looking through the list right now, like Beautiful Mind, Da Vinci Code. I mean, I'll even say the Jim Carrey How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Y'all say it. It was a good movie. Fight me. Yeah, Cinderella Man, Backdraft. I saw that on there. I kind of forgot about that. Twilight Zone, Frost Nixon, The Shootist, whatever he did in that. It was like 10 when that came out or something. Maybe 20. I don't know. I don't know how old he is. American Graffiti. I said that. Dark Tower, which I don't think anyone talks about. But yeah, no, he's like I said, he's got the gift for it. And I think, I mean, we've even seen that with Bryce Dallas. Like, some of the stuff she's even done for like Star Wars, you know what I mean? Like they can make some magic happen on the screen. For sure. Okay, what we got? Now we got cast. Boom. All right. The cast, which I know we talked about a little bit here. I mean, even if I just show you this shot here with these three gentlemen, like, holy crap, this cast. It's when you, like we said, when something beautiful comes together. I almost quoted the A-Team, but you love it when a plan comes together. You love it when great performances come together to make one hell of a story. So what do you think about this cast? Stacked lineup. Was there anybody in particular that stands out to you?
I mean, just look at that picture right there. That's murderer's row of some fantastic actors. I mean, Bill Paxton. We've already talked about how great Bill Paxton is.
The late and always great Bill Paxton.
The late and always great Bill Paxton. Kevin Bacon. It's funny. I was thinking about it last night as I was putting some of the stuff together. It's about 10 or 11 years between Footloose and this movie. He looks like he hasn't aged a day.
I was wondering about that. I was realizing how quote like young he was in this, but I was like, dude, have you aged at all since Friday the 13th or even Footloose now?
And it really is prime Tom Hanks. I mean, It's peak. I mean, he's always been good, but I mean, this was that period where Tom Hanks. I mean, if he looked cross-eyed at it at a project, it turned to absolute gold. I mean, this guy he was just everywhere at the time. Yeah, and even some of the secondary actors, some of the supporting actors, the cast of this is crazy. Gary Sinise.
I was trying to go into Gary Sinise.
Ed Harris playing Gene Kranz. Clint Howard, of course. You can't have a Ron Howard movie without having Clint Howard in there somewhere. Gabe Jarrett of Real Genius fame. But Xander Berkeley, Kathleen Quinlan playing Marilyn Lovell, both of Ron Howard's parents with very small but significant roles in this. It just loaded from top to bottom. Even Roger Corman. For his small little cameo, because Roger Corman's like, I just want a small part in your movie, and every director is smart enough to be like, okay, I'll let you say words just to have you in my movie. But the cast of this is really kind of perfect. I mean, I can't think of anybody who doesn't deliver, even in like the one or two scenes where they have important dialogue. If you have just one scene, everybody delivers in this movie. It's a fantastic cast. Who stands out the most? I mean, I don't know. Like I said, you've got a murderer's row of actors. I mean, I kind of, part of me kind of wants to say Tom Hanks because he's Tom Hanks. But I mean, the one that I get drawn to a lot more nowadays is Bill Paxton, because we unfortunately lost him. There is no more Bill Paxton to be had. And, there's no, there is,
Fred Haise, Renaissance man.
And that's funny because that shot is funny because that's really kind of a scene that, in retrospect is emblematic of kind of who he was as a person, as I've heard it described. Because after he died, I forget who it was. It may have been Tom Hanks, actually, had said it was like, it's this goofy guy from Texas who would talk about castrating hogs and all the things that people from Texas would talk about. I mean, Tex would know more if he was here, but he's like, but then you'd see him go out there and you'd realize he was trained with like Shakespearean level stuff. I mean, he could go out there and he knew Shakespeare. He was super intelligent. I mean, he could go play literally anything and he would sell. And I always tell people all the time, if they haven't seen this particular show, to go watch Big Love on HBO. It's when he plays the polygamist, the head of the household, where he's got 3 wives. And he's balancing being a closet polygamist with being the owner of some like hardware store chain or something like that. As you do. It's about 65% soap opera. So if you can deal with the soap opera aspects of it, you'll see how good of an actor he really is, because there's a lot of drama. There's moments of comedy and levity that he obviously brings his kind of Southern charm to, but there's a lot of really great dramatic dialogue that he delivers with poignancy and with firm delivery. He's just so good, but I mean, he's good in everything. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I can't type.
And of course, he has the rare distinction of being the one person who was killed by a Terminator, a Predator, and an alien, and a xenomorph. Yep. Who else can say that? It's like one person in entertainment history, in all of filmmaking history, can say that. That is Bill Paxton.
Yeah, I was like, that's a badge of honor. I think we need to make that a thing, because I mean, I don't think anyone else has done that. That is a fair point. I was looking up when Twister came out. That was the next year, which is funny because allegedly the role that Bill Paxton got was originally going to be for Tom Hanks. And I think there was some, I mean, obviously we know Bill Paxton got the role, but even I think that he had like the costume down and had all this other stuff. But I think even Hanks was the one who kind of built him up and said, yeah, let this guy do it. And I mean, he gave us a hell of a performance in Twister the next year. So yeah. I mean, yeah, there's another good one of the OG crew, I guess, 2 days prior, the Gary Sinise in the middle. Yeah, this is a hard one for me to really pick out one particular person, because like I said, all these guys bring their fucking game. I do like Ed Harris as a Gene Kranz. You want to talk about like a guy who like calmly but can still command a room. It's definitely this guy. And I've seen like pictures of the real Gene Kranz in like the mission control room there, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I don't know what it is. It's spot on. It's almost creepy. Like he pulls off that look really well.
I drove
Maybe it's the best. I
outside.
don't know.
We took a tour of Johnson Space Center in Houston, and we were in Houston a few years back to visit my girlfriend's brother and his wife and kid. And you drive by in this little tram that they had. You drive by Mission Control, and I looked at Jennifer and I was like, I bet you I could jump off this tram and be in the door of that thing before they stop me. I just want to see it just one time. Come to find out, I didn't know this till we were getting ready to leave. You can actually schedule tours of Mission Control, and I was like, I have to go back down there and take a tour of Mission Control. I want to stand in the places where I want to stand in the place. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I want to stand in the places where in that air, not like the eagle where you would hear the eagle has landed. I want to hear those words probably still reverberating around that room, where you would hear this, where you would hear the events of like the Challenger disaster or something like that, or Discovery. I want to be in that room to feel what the history that just emanates from that place. But yeah, hopefully I'll get a chance to one day go back down there and take that tour. I think that'd be wild. I still have a lot of footage from when we toured Johnson Space Center. I meant to put up in a vlog. It's all on my iPad. I've never edited it together. I'll have to get on that.
I still have from a couple years ago, my birthday, when we went to visit the Shawshank prison, and I am just so damn lazy I didn't edit any of it. I just have all this footage of us walking around the prison and me talking nonsense into the camera, trying to like catch everything, and I stopped to listen to the little self-guided thing and be like, so this room is where like 15 prisoners are stuffed into one cell, and it's no wonder everybody killed themselves because or sorry, I can't say that on YouTube. They unalived themselves or set themselves on fire. Crazy stuff like that. But yeah, I'm too lazy. Maybe it's a sign to go back, and I think that'd be a cool video. I don't know. I have other birthdays coming up, birthdays and anniversaries now. Oh God. Well, he's here, and at least he's saying positive things, even if the positive thing is he wants bacon.
Bacon.
I don't know if that means that he wants to eat Kevin Bacon, but we'll let the internet handle that one right there.
I just assume the case he wants to eat everything.
You said it, not me. I'm not going there. Oh Lord Jesus! Speaking of bacon, because that makes no sense. Plot. We got a fucking. There's a picture of the ship again. No. Plot. So, yeah, as if the entire world doesn't, conspire against you because you are on the 13th. Well, not 13th, but you're on Apollo 13, launching on the 13th hour, the 13th minute, the 13th second of the 13th something 13. It's like, you guys are throwing a giant middle finger towards superstition, whether you believe in it or not. But maybe that's the point. If you do it so much, maybe just nothing will go wrong. But however, Murphy was also in the pilot seat, and everything goddamn did go wrong. And these poor guys had to. They were planned to go to the moon, but unfortunately, that's not the case, and had to kind of slingshot themselves around the moon and come back home. Pretty. I say straightforward, but again, I don't claim to know how to do space travel. But yeah, so. And it's a nail biter for like what 2.5 was like 2 hours 20 minutes.
Yeah, this is a pretty long movie for mid 90s.
Yeah, but it's amazing that you still can fill that story with enough to. You got enough there to tell, but also again keep people just like fixated. Like, okay, now what? Oh, they fixed this. Oh crap, that didn't work. Or, I love even just the subtle. Like, I think I got a picture of the condensation. Like, you don't think about things like this. Like, Kevin Bacon goes to touch the button, and he's like, hey, there's a lot of condensation on these things. Is it going to short out? And they all kind of go like,
like what do you, like, well.
Oh, crap. Well, we didn't think it. And again, anybody cool as Gary Sinise just goes like, yeah, we'll just take it one at a time. How about that? I'm like, right. Good God. Yeah, for plot. What do you think about this plot? Is there anything you would change? And why is the answer no?
Well, yeah, because the answer is no. That's the trick to reviewing some of these true event films like this, Titanic, whatever, is because the plot is what happened. It's written in history. Would I have changed anything? Well, I might have fixed that servo or whatever the hell it is that blew up and caused the thing in the first place if I could change history. But the plot, it's I really like the way that they didn't just talk about the accident. Yeah, I criticize Titanic in the way that they could have made it more about the Titanic and less about the romance between the two characters. But I'm like, but I get it. You need Jack and Rose because you want to bring the women in. They're not going to be, the women may not be so into just the idea of this ship hitting an iceberg and sinking and what happened. That's called a documentary. And, generally speaking, guys watch documentaries, but you got to do something that brings the women in too. So that's why you have the Jack and Rose storyline. But one of the things they did about this movie, which I thought was really, really smart on Ron Howard's part, is they didn't start the movie with a launch. I think a lot of people might have started the movie with a launch and just kind of drugged that 3 days of waiting around, which is, from when the problem presented itself to when they splash down, there's really only like 3 moments that are critical to the story. So not just like dragging out them being stuck in this spacecraft for 3 days, and actually going back to the very beginning, giving me, showing us the beginning of the movie, how they're all hanging out at the Lovell house watching Neil Armstrong walk on the moon for the first time, setting the stage for exactly what the stakes are for these characters, for these people, that taking us back to that moment in history that so many people in our age group just weren't around for. We can only read about it in the abstract in books. In articles, we can't really experience the moment. To actually go that and then show how he became the commander of Apollo 13 and all the lead up and training. I like how they built the story up to the event itself. And then the event, they deal with it because there's not really a whole lot of, they only spend like 45 minutes of the movie or something like that actually in space. After the explosion. It's only about 45 minutes of a 2 hour and something long-winded movie. So they understood there was a lot more to tell here than just there was an explosion. These guys had to float back through space to Earth. It was introduction to the characters. How did Jack Swigert end up replacing Ken Mattingly? How was that decision made? There was so much more to this entire thing than just the incident itself. And I like how they worked all that into the plot and made it a fuller story. Because if it would have just been about them floating through space for 3 days, I think this movie would have been kind of boring. It would have been a lot of made up shit that never really happened. They already kind of took some liberties, a little bit of the stuff that happened when they're in space. But yeah, so I love how they actually told the broader story of how we all ended up on Apollo 13 and the incident and them coming back, instead of just showing like the explosion and, oh no, action and drama, and then not really anything else.
Yeah, there's a lot of good groundwork, like good character work that's laid out first, because I mean, you kind of, leading up to this moment, like you said, you got to understand how they kind of got to this point, why things worked out the way they did. And yeah, you want to care about these characters, because I mean, inherently, yes, you have if you started with a launch and then going up and goes boom and, oh crap, now we got to get back. But again, like I said about the cast, like it gives you these characters that you do care about, and it's all a testament to how the actors played it. I was gonna say something else, and I don't know why my mind went completely goddamn blank. Yeah, it's. Oh, I was gonna go back a little further. I'm like, I think, crazily enough, the cold open of actually starting with Apollo 1 and the guys getting trapped in the capsule before anything ever happened, and the fire that ended up killing all of them, is kind of a hell of a way to start, because it is like it's kind of giving you the inherent like dangers of like what's things that can happen, and something even way back in Apollo 1. That's why I didn't have a picture of it. I like that scene of Tom Hanks talking to his son about because of course the kid, his first thought would be like, so did they fix the door? He's kind of like, so this can't happen again, right? And he's like, oh no, yeah, we figured that out, we fixed it, and should be good. And it's like, well, and as he says at the end of the movie, like, this is something that happened like 2 years before he even became commander of the flight. So it's like, crazy things happen. But that's, unfortunately, I wouldn't want to say something like space travel is something where you want to find out by trial and error, but I mean, that's science for you. Yeah, that's a hell of a way to open with Apollo 1 going up in flames. So yeah, I don't think I would change anything. Like I said, you got a solid story, a solid cast. Yeah, there it is. I was waiting for somebody, and of course it's Casey. It comes in with the conspiracy.
No, the moon landing was fake. Apollo 13 was real.
Yeah.
Totally different mission. Like 3 different missions.
Well, I mean, he probably saw that, I guess, like vision or wishful thinking from Tom Hanks, where he actually did land on the moon and got to, touch the surface and stuff. Like, yeah, that was in fact fake, but again, well, different podcast on a different day. Yeah, no, so it's solid movie. This is when all the stars align. And yes, I said that on purpose. Trivia. Wow, we need to quit running through these movies so fucking fast.
Well, before we get to trivia, I can say this real quick. I forgot to touch on it earlier. I actually got a chance to hear Jim Lovell speak when I was right after I graduated high school.
You said that somewhere, didn't you?
Yeah,
you did right there. Yeah.
Do
explain.
I went to a trade school, the Greene County Career Center. You probably know it, Jay. And I actually competed in my thing that I learned, my trade that I learned, electrical wiring. And I went to the national competition in Kansas City, and he was one of the speakers because this movie came out like a year before I graduated high school. So he was big in the news. Apollo 13 was still very big. This movie was huge. So I actually got to hear him speak. And I didn't get a chance to take a picture with him or anything, but I got a chance to like walk up to him, shake his hand, and just kind of ask him. I was like, dude, what's that like? I said, I can think about what it's like because I've swam in the ocean. I've swam out in the ocean, and it's a weird feeling to know that like I'm treading water and I can see the water that I'm in, but I know that there is a great depth below me that I cannot see. I just know it's there.
You know what's in there.
And my imagination is the only thing. So I was like, I said, what is it like to be in space? I mean, even not having had a chance to actually get to the moon, what is it like just being surrounded by this emptiness? And he goes, it feels amazing. He's like, he said it's so freeing. He's like, you can feel, he said, the way he described it to me is like, you can feel your soul in your body when you're in space. That's the only time you can ever really feel it because there's nothing else to feel. It's like, I was actually listening to a separate, like short podcast earlier today about what it's like to be in space. And somebody had asked a question this astronaut answered about, how do you wash your clothes in space? And she said, you don't. And she's like, legitimately, you don't. She's like, I think she spent like 3 months on the ISS, and she had one pair of pants because when you're in space, gravity pulls your clothes down on you, and your clothes come in more contact with your body, get oils and stuff on them, and that's how they get dirty. It's like in space, your clothes float around you; they don't really touch your body all that.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
She's like
that pesky thing called gravity.
Yeah,
you know?
Space is such a weird place, and I've always wanted to go to outer space. I've always wanted to go to the moon or Mars, and being able to like talk to him and get that firsthand knowledge of what it was like. I mean, like he could tell me the visuals. He talked to me for quite a few minutes. Me and a couple of friends of mine about what it was like just to do all this stuff and pressing buttons and all this stuff. He goes, it seems really complicated. He goes, but once he's like, you spend years and years and years training for one mission. He was saying at the time, he's like, we only had like 4 or 5 actual experiments we were going to do on the moon. He said, we spent like 18 months training for those experiments. For 5 experiments, we were going to do over 2 or 3 days. So we spent like 18 months training on these things because we knew exactly what we were going to do, exactly when, exactly what buttons to press. He says, so just being there, he's like, one of the good things about that is just being there. We can experience it differently instead of always having to feel like we're working and concentrating so hard. He's like, by the time we get to the moon, we're already doing it kind of instinctively. So we have a minute to kind of look around and be like, I'm on the moon, I'm in space. And to kind of realize it and take it all in. Yeah. It's just, I would love to go to space. I was very, it's always been one of my highlights of my personal life that I got a chance to talk to him for just a few minutes. And to shake his hand and to say that I shook hands with a man who has been in space, who has been on the other side of the moon. Not a lot of people can say that. Not a lot of people can say that. So yeah, I thought he was a very nice man. I mean, I didn't really ask him too much about the movie because I'd seen the movie a dozen times already at that point. So I didn't really want to ask him about that as much as I just wanted to ask him. It's like, dude, what is it like? I mean, is it really as crazy as it looks on TV when I watch it? Because it looks crazy on TV. He goes, yeah, it's kind of crazy. I was like, yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, I bet. I think that was the question that Rachel posed to me like after we watched the movie. It's like, what would maybe be more terrifying? Like she was saying, like you think about trying to be an astronaut in space like this, and again, things like anything, things can go wrong. And she's like, so what about like people who are like deep sea welders and shit like that? And I'm like, yeah, like you want to talk about like the deep ocean or like deep space? I'm like, not really. I'm like, it's like, well, basically, would you want to freeze to death or be, just squished to death like instantly? I don't know, because I'm like, I like that analogy that it is kind of a weird, vast thing that's like it's hard to put your mind around, and even something that's on our own Earth that more people can readily experience. But it's like you can imagine, like you don't even know what's really in the ocean or what's below you and how vast that thing is that's right beneath you. And it's always that wild thing about like we know more about the surface of the moon than we know about our own ocean. I'm like, yeah, if that doesn't terrify you a little bit, I don't know what does. And that's why you can't tell me mermaids don't exist or fucking like krakens and shit. Like, I don't know what's down there. And the problem is, it's like it is kind of a hard thing to explore. I mean, in its own right, just like going to space, it's like there's things you have to be prepared for in different scenarios. Like, whereas opposed to water and immense pressure and absolute darkness, as opposed to, well, I guess darkness and no gravity, no air. So I don't know. Wish I had that for a poll question. Which one, would you rather ocean or space? Because I don't really know.
Yeah,
I'd rather just die in the ocean. I think just be crushed like that and rather be dead.
I've been I was very fortunate to grow up on a beach town, so I really do love the ocean. But yeah, space is, they're both pretty wild. I can imagine both those places, to really explore them would be mesmerizing, to say the least.
Yeah, I guess I agree with the person who posed me that question. Both are kind of terrifying. Like, yeah, no kidding. I mean, you got now that I think about it, now that we have like things like those little anglerfish that have like the fucking little bioluminescent like bits on their head, I'm like, can you imagine if there was something like that in space? Because space is so dark and there's just this natural space anglerfish, whatever the hell, that just has like a scary ass mouth and a little beacon light in his way. I don't know.
Actually, Casey, this is one of the questions that was posed to the astronaut that I was listening to on this podcast earlier, and she said no. But I have read for quite some time that the Russians aboard Mir actually experimented.
That's one way to put it.
that a man and a woman experienced coitus in zero gravity. That's what I've heard. I don't know if it's true or not.
Make things a little easier.
Yeah, it's the Russians. Who the hell knows? I mean, if the Russians told me water was wet and the sky was blue, I'd have to confirm it with somebody else. But I mean, but yeah, that's. I mean, if you think about it, that's something I figured that of all these space-faring places out there. I mean, NASA, the ESA, the European Space Agency, the Russians, whatever. Anybody who goes to space, if we're looking at eventually in the future of humans going out for long trips into space, more than a year or two, and talking about colonizing other planets or just being a deep space faring people, that copulation, gestation, and birth in space is something we'll need to study at some point. I find it difficult to think that somebody hasn't, that some agency that does space travel has not said, hey, we're gonna try this. So maybe we'll get a husband and wife astronaut team to go up there, do whatever we have to do. We're gonna make the baby, carry the baby, and have the baby, and we're gonna see how it affects the baby, because we have to know these things. I shudder to think that it would have very negative ramifications on the baby. That would be terrible. But I mean, we don't have any way of knowing other than trying it out. So I assume that maybe at some point somebody has studied at least the intimacy part of it. As far as the rest of it is concerned, I don't know how you do that without just doing it,
Yeah, I think I watched some YouTube video about like, what if you did, like, if you were born in space. So we're past the the fun part. I mean, even just to think about what would a pregnancy look like, because again, you're accounting for gravity, and it's like, well, how do you push a child out? How do you even contract? How do you do anything? And then it's like, so again, now you're being born somewhere where there is no gravity, there's no nothing, and like, would you even grow? Because again, you grow against the force of gravity. Your body, goes this way. If you don't have anything acting on your body in that way, it's like, what would that even do? That's a weird. I don't know how a human body would develop in space. That's a weird thing to. Maybe it's one of those weird things where it's like, should we try it with an animal? See what happens. As much as whatever you feel about that.
Yeah, this astronaut that I was listening to talk earlier said that when you go to space, your spine starts to decompress because there's no gravity pulling against your body. She said that she actually grew like 1.5 inches in the first like 3 or 4 days just from her spine decompressing. And I was like, damn.
See, then I wonder when you come back, I'm like,
that kind of an effect.
Now everything is, then everything's going back together. Like
the way she had described it is, she had said the first few days that you're in space, you can have some lower back pain because of your spine decompressing, your body's just adjusting. But she said after that it goes away pretty quickly. And
I mean, like, what happens when you come back? I'm like, are you gonna hurt again because now your body's going back?
Well, she said when you come back, you just feel really heavy. And I'm like, well, yeah, because there's gravity.
Yeah,
I figured feeling anything would be heavy, but it's like, but do you feel like you have to like take careful steps like a newborn baby deer or something to kind of get your earthlings back? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, Northern DC. I've heard that too. I've heard that the Reds did it, that the Russians experimented on Mir. Exactly what came of that, who the hell knows? But I've heard they did it. Yeah. But like I said, did that result in a pregnancy? Because that's interesting. I mean, how did it affect the baby? That's the questions we need answered here. So come on, NASA, let's get on this. Let's put a nice, lovely couple on the ISS. Let's let them do what they do.
Well, no, we say that, and I think I have the perfect man for the job. I'm just saying. I put that in there. I'm like, look, we all want to be like the one who discovers this thing, but like, let's be honest, we're all just Jay in this situation. We're the first motherfucker to see a new galaxy or a new alien species. And fuck it. Be like, everybody's like, there he goes. The homeboy fucked an alien once. It's too perfect. Oh, send Jay Muse up there. He's
damn right.
He's expressed interest as he has. See, that's kind of what I was thinking. I'm like, wait, how does blood flow even work? I mean, I guess it does work. I don't know, man. I haven't been to space. Jesus.
Actually, one of the things this lady did say is that blood flow, it's like everything in your body changes in zero gravity, and that even blood flow changes, and that sometimes your blood can flow in reverse. I would have to go back and listen to exactly what she said about it. But yeah, like you don't really think about the effect that gravity has on your body when you're just walking around, but until you spend a significant amount of time in zero gravity. I think this lady, this astronaut I was listening to talk today on this podcast, she had spent a total of 111 days in space or 104 days in space, something like that. Yeah. It was over 100, more time than I've ever spent in space. And
100 more days than I have, yeah.
Yeah, she's like everything. Like they have to work out 2 hours a day, because if they don't do that,
have to keep yourself.
Yeah, because if they don't do that, it's like the way it affects your bones, the way it affects everything. That they had to do.
Your heart's a muscle. Does it keep moving blood in that manner? Does it get to your brain? Like, yeah,
that's what she was talking about. It's like even the heart as a muscle is affected by gravity. So the way that blood flows through your body is very strange in zero gravity. So yeah, it's crazy. So that's why they have been sending people up there for longer and longer durations, because they're like, if we want to go to some place like past Mars, and we can get to Mars in 3 months, we're already keeping people up at the International Space Station for like 4, 5, 6 months at a time, sometimes 8. Yeah. So it's like, so to Mars and back probably wouldn't be too terrible, but it's like, talk about going out past Mars, or maybe doing some like deep space stuff where we're just putting a colony of people on a spaceship and saying like, head on out there and let us know if you find anything. It's like, point your nose towards Alpha Centauri, hit warp 1, and make it so. You know what I mean? So
they hit ludicrous speed.
Yeah,
get there faster.
He's gone the plaid. But that doesn't count though, Northern, because that doesn't count. Well, for one, the baby wasn't conceived in space. I assume anyway that the baby was conceived on Earth. But
no.
And then,
but I think Casey had the next question, right? Like, so, but then the same thing, would that be considered an alien? So you get some weird laws of like, well, it's not born on this Earth, so then what? Well, I love that jab at like Jack Swigert's character where he's like, oh yeah, since it is almost tax day, I forgot to tell you I didn't actually file my taxes, so don't come after me. And Nixon's like, it's cool. Nixon of all people says, you're cool, man, since you're, what did he say? Most decidedly out of the country right now?
Most decidedly out of the country.
Well, we're still balls deep in this catastrophe. Like, oh yeah, thanks, man. I'm glad I don't have to do my taxes. That's the thing that's really gonna kill him. I don't know. Like, there's weird. I saw something really funny about whether it's true or not. about like some child stars. I'm going somewhere with this. Child stars that have like shows that they don't get royalties for because they were kids, right? He's like, there'd be somebody who was a guest star on our show, said 3 lines, and they still get royalties to this day. It's kind of messed up. And he said like, well, there's a thing in there that even says like, no matter what, we will never get royalties for. He's like, so no matter where this goes, this is even like on Earth and beyond. He's like, if you start showing our show on the surface of Mars or the moon one day, he's like, we still won't get royalties for it. I'm like, that is so fucked up. What, really? To be having your show shown in like space somewhere else that's not Earth and still be like, yeah, but you don't get money for that. It's like, read your contracts, kids. Jesus. I mean, they're a kid, but you know what I mean? It's just crazy that stuff like that exists. Where this, even if you take it off the planet, it still doesn't count. Which I think is stupid, but
yeah.
Okay. That's some cool. Like my pictures. Okay, well, I don't know if you have anything else. We have trivia, so unless you have like final thoughts, concerns, maybe beg Elon for some money so we can go up into space in a Tesla or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so yeah, what you guys need to do is use that Stream Elements or Stream Labs link in the description. Send us some money so we can go to Mars.
There's your plug.
Yeah. Join the Patreon, something like that. I mean,
hey, you can help Gina Carano win a lawsuit against Disney. I mean, you can get us to space. He's our modern day Batman, and we're not utilizing that. Actually, neither is he. So I don't know.
Yeah, he hasn't built a suit for himself yet. So he's got a ways to go before I give him that much credit.
Yeah, really. He made a cool flamethrower, but I mean that's about it. Ah, hell. Okay. So I don't know. Is that the final thoughts? The gavel has been.
let's go ahead and get into the
court is adjourned. Yeah, court is adjourned. Okay. I see the words Bill Paxton. So we're going to go back to Bill Paxton, the Renaissance man. Okay. Bill Paxton, Tom Hanks, and Kevin Bacon. No, I could have used the group shot. Oh, well. We're all very proud of the fact that they weren't sick on the so-called vomit comet, which is the plane used to simulate zero gravity. However, the cameramen were apparently not so lucky. Yeah, I mean, if you wonder how they make a movie like this, I'm pretty sure it's like you build sets and you go up in the plane and you got a couple of seconds, you go back down and there's your zero gravity. You get your shot and you just ride the roller coaster. That's pretty impressive that all 3 of them didn't. The poor camera guy.
You know, I wonder before then how many films had used that aircraft to get shots. I wonder if I can find that real quick.
I don't know.
Filming.
Because like I always remember like that's how they do it, but in the back of my head. But I'm sitting there like, oh, this is so cool. It looks like they're actually in space. And I'm like, well, yeah, they're in a set in a plane on Earth doing this number right here, you know. But it's still cool as hell.
Let me look that up real quick. Filming in the Vomit Comet. Filming the Vomit Comet. The filming of Apollo 13 was a unique and challenging experience for the cast and crew. I imagine. The aircraft of the Apollo Comet was modified to simulate weightlessness for the film's zero gravity scenes. Yeah, I know that, but I want to know.
Like, was it used for anything else?
I know I'm seeing a lot about this particular movie, but I'm looking at the. I want to know. Maybe I just look at Vomit Comet and see.
Yeah, see what it's been used for.
The Vomit Comet.
I hope it's its legal Christian name.
What is the term Vomit Comet? Refers to a type of reduced gravity aircraft that provides brief experiences of weightlessness through parabolic flight maneuvers. Blah blah blah. Origins. Let's see. After zero gravity.
It was like a tab for like movies or something.
Nice significance. I'm trying to find it. Reduced gravity aircraft. Let me see if Wikipedia's got anything about it.
Like we know how it works.
other operators' use in media production. Let's see. In '95, Apollo 13 filmed many scenes. In 2016, rock group OK Go recorded a music video for their single "Upside Down and Inside Out" on a reduced gravity aircraft. That's cool. Let's see. The adult entertainment production company Private Media Group has filmed a pornographic movie called The Uranus Experiment Part 2, where a zero-gravity intercourse scene was filmed aboard a reduced-gravity aircraft. The filming process was particularly difficult from a technological and logistical standpoint, I can imagine.
Well, there you go.
Budget constraints allowed for only one 20-second shot featuring actors Sylvia Saint and Nick Lang. I'm sure that's their real names. Milton Jr., president and CEO of Private Media Group, said in 2000, "You would not want to be afraid of flying, that's for sure." I would imagine so. Zero G Corporation was featured in Mythbusters moon landing conspiracy episode, which flew Adam and Jamie on a custom flight path to replicate the moon's gravity. This allowed Savage to replicate the footage of Neil Armstrong walking the moon, disarming claims that the footage was forged. It doesn't really say who was first, though. Space tour. Yeah, I'm assuming this is it, if not the first film, then one of the first.
This is the first prominent film that probably used it. Yeah,
certainly the first prominent film, I would have to say, but
to that degree, yeah, that's cool.
And there's several countries: Canada, Ecuador. Ecuador has a zero G plane, really. Sure. Europe has one. Russia has one. The U.S. Yeah, so I mean, this is the first one I've seen that I can find a reference to there. So yeah, I mean, since then I know they've done at least a couple. I think Tom Cruise even did some of the shot a couple scenes for a Mission Impossible movie in one, but I don't know. Let's see.
Or that other film you mentioned. I mean, that's one hell of a mile high club. Am I right?
Well, it says right here in Europe. In Europe, the aircraft used to realize blah 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 under zero G. Their aircraft has been used for cinema purposes, with Tom Cruise and Annabelle Wallis filming for The Mummy in 2017.
Interesting.
But that's 2017. That's not 1995.
Yeah, there's a decade or so they were removed.
Really? In Ecuador, the first zero G plane to enter service in Latin America was nicknamed Condor, operated by the Ecuadorian Civilian Space Agency. I didn't even know they had a space agency in Ecuador. And the Ecuadorian Air Force since May 2008. On June 19th of 2008, this plane carried a 7-year-old boy, setting the Guinness World Record for the youngest person to fly in microgravity.
Huh. It's 2008. That's kind of crazy how recent really that is. All right, then.
Interesting.
Huh. Well, then. So what you're saying is we have options.
Yeah. I mean, here, Europe, Russia, if we ever actually become friends with them.
Yeah. Canada, maybe around the time this movie came out, mid-90s was probably the best time to go, and I think we missed that window.
Well, yeah, they got one in Canada, so maybe Alex and the Garbage Man can work it out. They can do a podcast from Zero G, a 20-second, like a 20-second podcast. But I mean,
just a real quick, make a YouTube short. Yeah. YouTube short for us. Okay, what? What? No, did I not put? Oh, I did. Okay, I've got it. I promise. Let's see, Jim Lovell wore his old Navy captain's uniform in the scene where he greets the astronauts aboard the USS Iwo Jima. When Ron Howard asked Lovell if he'd like to be in the film as the ship's admiral, Lovell agreed, but pointed out, "I retired as a captain, and a captain I will be."
Yeah, classy.
That's fair.
Classy, response from a guy who didn't want to get promoted unfairly.
Right, even through a movie's sake.
I realized looking at the chat just now, it's been a while since my son Keegan has taken any shots at you about your game playing or
I didn't want to give him I wasn't going to give him time of day. In fact, I'm still not. But it's really cute that you think you still got it. Remember, he may have taken some punches at you, but I threw in some fucking left hooks there, okay?
1v1 me, bro. 1v1 me, bro.
Oh, 1v1 me in Battlefield. I bet you can't. With your stupid COD movement. Yeah. We cross the map and I'll snipe you right in the dome. You're never going to see it coming. Oh, Lordy. What do we got? Get comments out of here. Amazingly, I don't think I have anything with the news, so we'll go back to Mission Control. Next one is Ron Howard had Walter Cronkite record new audio reports to add to Apollo 13. I mean, that's pretty cool. And I guess, as he would say, that's the way it was.
Yeah, it's I love it
Cool.
that you can go back to moments like this and pull like that news footage and stuff like that. But having him re-record it is not very surprising, for one, because you don't really know what the audio quality is going to be like. But for two, I mean, you want to have a clear, somebody with a voice like Walter Cronkite. You kind of want to have a clear. I mean, you wouldn't know it, but I mean, he does have a very singular sound. I mean, I've watched several times the coverage of the day that Kennedy was killed and his coverage and things like that. Oh, God, yes, yeah. He does have a certain way of speaking that jumps out at you. It's not unlike what they did with what am I thinking of? Miracle, about the Miracle on Ice, the Americans beating the Russian hockey team at Lake Placid. Al Michaels did that commentary for that. He commentated that game early in his career, and so they had Al Michaels come back in and reread his commentary. They typed it all on paper, got the transcripts, but they ran into a problem. They were just like, how do we get him to say that big moment where it's like, do you believe in miracles? He's like, how do you get him to say that with the same enthusiasm, the same excitement, do the moment? So what they did was as he was reading, they slowly audio transitioned to the original call from 1980.
Nice.
So it's seamless. Cool. Unless you know what happened, you wouldn't notice. But they slowly transitioned into a digitally cleaned up version of his call. So it's the actual call of him saying, do you believe in miracles? So you were able to catch that moment. But yeah, if you have a guy like Walter Cronkite available to say any words at all, you got to record him. It's like he's one of those guys. Yeah. I would listen to that guy read the phone book. You know what I mean? He has that singular voice.
Fucking for sure. That's a cool shot. Which I aptly named. I did spell that one right. Keep the Earth in the window. The cast and crew flew between 612 parabolic arcs in NASA's KC-135 airplane, which we mentioned before is nicknamed the Vomit Comet. Each arc produced 20 seconds of weightlessness, and all of these flights were completed in 13 days, ironically enough. There's that pesky number again. The actual KC-135 used was decommissioned in 1995 after 22 years of service and placed on display at Ellington Field. Yeah, that's still pretty cool.
That's one aircraft I would like to walk through. Right. I always get a little annoyed that we live minutes away from the United States Air Force Museum, and there are some things that really should be there that aren't. I was actually very perturbed and very upset when they didn't get one of the remaining shuttles after they ended the shuttle program. But yeah, I donated a few bucks to that cause trying to get the shuttle here. But yeah, I would love, like, again, it's like that aircraft, not just being essentially a movie set, a flying movie set, is a part of movie history, and I'd really like to go check it out.
Oh yeah. I don't know what that is, so we're gonna go with Gary Sinise. The crawler seen moving in the background of one of the scenes as Apollo 13 is being moved from the vehicle assembly building was the real NASA crawler, and Ron Howard even got to drive it. I think I know what picture it is, but I didn't, for some reason, think that was important. But I should really read these.
You know what the crawler is, right? It's
that big thing with the treads that moves.
At like 1 mile an hour drives from the vehicle assembly building, that really tall building they put the shuttle and the rockets together, out to the pad. And it's like that thing in and of itself is a mind-blowing piece of engineering. I mean, they build at the time the Saturn V and then eventually the space shuttle on this giant, essentially what is a giant tank that is the size of a city block. And and then they have to drive this thing with the space shuttle or the Saturn V rocket standing straight up, drive it out there at a very slow pace so that you don't mess with the center of gravity and topple the very expensive, very important shit that's on the on top of it. And even that in true NASA form, like every couple of feet, they check everything, the orientation, all that, because if you don't park this thing just right, you have a lot of problems. But yeah, it's a magnificent piece of engineering all on its own.
Yeah, I was gonna say just just that thing itself. Let me get. Give me 1 second here. And no, I am not going to bother changing the names. But when you got, I think it's the first, yeah, that one. Yeah, that. I mean,
Yeah, that. I put another
that is
picture in there.
insane.
I put another picture of the
Okay.
crawler there if you want to use it.
Yeah, well, and I use this one too because I'm like, if not even just for the fact that it's a quick scene of them just walking and then him telling them like, "Hey, we got a problem," you know. I'm like, but that just the sheer fucking scale of them being next to it. Yeah, that's another good one right there. Like this big platform on these giant treads that just moves your toys around the base. I mean, that's insane to think about.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that you're moving this big bitch, and you want to be real careful about not dropping it, basically. Oh Jesus! It dwarfs that car.
It's been essentially the same vehicle since 1965.
Wow! If it ain't broke, you don't have to fix it. I mean, shit.
It says curb. I don't know what curb weight is. A vehicle weight, I'm guessing it's a parked weight with nothing else on it, of 2,721 tons. That's 6 million pounds.
I was gonna say that's a big piece of equipment.
The crawler itself has been added to the National Registration of Historic Places.
Yeah, fair. Damn. See, it's little things you don't really think about. Like, yeah, the spaceship has to go from here to there. How do we do that? You know? Oh, we'll just get this big fucking square and we'll just plop it on there and move it.
There are actually two of
them.
We
take Bikini Bottom and push it somewhere else.
Yeah, there's actually two of them. Both of them have been added to the National Registry of Historic Places.
Oh, nice.
And they've been used in movies, of course. Transformers, Dark of the Moon, Dirty Jobs, Apollo 13, obviously, Pacific Rim, Fallout 3, in an add-on called Broken Steel.
Oh, Broken Steel. Yep.
Let's see.
I was like, wait, a DLC, I think. Yeah. Yeah, since Fallout 3 takes place in Washington, D.C., if nobody knows. Yeah, that would make sense. What I love to do is go get Abraham Lincoln's repeater.
True.
That gun hits like a fucking semi. I'm telling you. It's a gun worth going to go find. And then it's fun in 3 when you have to do your best Nicolas Cage and go steal the Declaration of Independence. I'm not kidding. That's an actual mission in that game. I'm like, oh yeah, casually. I'll go find the Declaration of Independence because it wasn't where it was supposed to be in the game. It was like some raiders or somebody. I can't remember who stole it. But yeah, you gotta go get it back from some of these bastards. It's a fun mission. I'm not sure if that came out before that movie or after. Fallout 3 was like the early 2000s. I'm trying to remember when the movie came out. I don't feel like doing math. I'm gonna go to the next one. Several actors from the movie. I have a picture of several actors from the movie. Several actors from the movie, including Tom Hanks, Bill Paxton, Kevin Bacon, and Gary Sinise, visited the U.S. Space and Rocket Center Oh my God, that's a lot of words. Hold on. Let me redo that. U.S. Space and Rocket Center Space Camp Program Space something Space. God, got to work on that name.
It's called Space Camp. You can call it Space Camp for short.
Thank you. So they went to space camp, nerds, and worked on their worked on the simulators before production of the movie began to help them get a feel for what it would be like to work in zero gravity.
I've always wanted to go to space camp. I think it'd be dope as shit.
I mean, yeah, I would. That would be a fucking interesting. Let me get that out there. There we go. Okay, cool. It's a quick one. Let's get the shit back up there. The real Apollo 13 capsule was restored and is on display at the Kansas Cosmosphere in Hutchinson, Kansas. Of all places, it's in Kansas.
Yeah, I know. It's like I said. It's why isn't this place thinking a place like the Smithsonian or even the Air Force Museum by us? Why is it like Kansas where nobody's gonna go?
Really? You mean I gotta drive all the fuck way out to Kansas?
I know
for that.
Kansas
I don't.
About as empty but the thing is, though, is that's one of those things where it's like if I get a chance to drive out there to see it, I'm going to because I just want to see it. I want to see it with my own eyes. I don't because I don't really want as much as I can. I want to experience history in the flesh, not in the abstract. It's like I was talking to my son quite some time ago. He was asking me something about 9/11, and I was just like, well, it's weird because I got to watch that happen like live on TV, whereas I can only read about something like Pearl Harbor in books. I can watch documentaries and all that, and there's some video that has been out there. But I was like, I can't. But that world is so far removed from the one that I have existed in that I can only think about it like it's in a movie. I can't envision it as real life. Whereas the difference between something like that and 9/11 is like 9/11 happened live on television for everybody to watch, whereas there's some people in the United States didn't even know Pearl Harbor had happened until several days later. Could you imagine something like that happening and anybody not knowing for days? It's so weird to us.
The world's a little different now, but
I want to go experience as much as I can. It's one of the reasons why I like going to places like the Air Force Museum. I can see these things. I can stand there like they have the SR-71 Blackbird and all that. I can reach out and touch these cool things, and they're not just something that is that's cartoonish or it's like a thing that only exists in a movie. It exists in front of me in real life, and I can touch it and feel it, and it's real. It makes it tangible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, it's like for the further and further we get from 9/11, I'm like, I mean, there's people that are going to be born now that have no fucking idea what that was. So that's going to be a weird thing removed for them where it's like they didn't experience something like that.
Yeah, so my kids will
time, it's like
even with all the live coverage of 9/11 and things like it in the years since, it's like my kids being, my oldest was born a couple of years after 9/11. So he didn't exist in the world where that happened, like literally. So to him, it's always going to be something that happened in a world that he didn't exist in. He's never going to feel connected to it the way that people of a certain age who were at least were alive to the point where they have some memories of that day. And kind of how everybody felt around it. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like
I was a wee lad, but I remember.
I've always been mad at myself for not sitting down with my grandma and talking to her because she had just turned 20 when Pearl Harbor was bombed. And I've always been very mad at now I was young and didn't know because I was an idiot, but I've always been very mad at myself for not being aware enough to sit her down one time and be like, hey, when you were 20 years old in the South in Mississippi, what was it like to hear this? I mean, tell me what you felt and what your initial feelings were, knowing the little bit that you knew when you were first hearing these words. Because I can go back and watch a million movies, documentaries, do reading for months and months and months about Pearl Harbor. But when you were hearing it for the first time in the moment, what was that like? I've always been very angry with myself for not being smart enough to have conversations like that with her when I had a chance.
I mean, to be fair, to bring my mom back into the chat a little bit. I mean, she was. We always ask somebody, where were you when Kennedy got shot? Yeah. That's someone asked that question. I'm like, and she told me, I mean, she worked, this is the bad place to be at that time. She worked, I think she said for a switchboard back in the day. Cause kids, phones don't just work the way they do now. I know I don't have to explain it to Frank, but can you imagine that moment fucking happening and that whole board lights up and it's like, what the shit is going on? I was
amazed. I was amazed to find out not too long ago that the White House switchboard was operational until the late 90s.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, really? It's they were slowly making this transition to other stuff, but they had the full White House switchboard. And, for those of you who don't understand what the switchboard is you had operators there with a bajillion cables. They would plug it in when the thing rang, they would answer, and you would say, I need to talk to Jeremy. They would say, okay. They would plug that long thing into the thing that went to Jeremy's phone, and that's how they connected back in the day. And the White House had their switchboard operational until well into the 90s, well into the Clinton era, and that's just mind-blowing.
Damn.
Maybe that's how he got Monica in the office. He said, switch her over, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you couldn't track phone calls. You couldn't track phone calls on the switchboard like that. So maybe that's why the White House kept it around for a while. They're like, I want a little bit of deniability. Let's just keep that switchboard.
I'm sorry, Monica. What is that on your dress?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's my Bill Clinton for the day, and I'll never do that again. I'm sorry. That's a joke, because no, I'll never stop making that joke. Let's get the three guys again. All right. In the movie, Fred Haise jokingly accused Swigert of giving him the clap by sharing his relief tubes. It's a funny moment. Hayes' illness was, in fact, related to the relief tubes. It was a urinary tract infection, or UTI, caused by his continual wearing of the condom-like sleeve needed to use the spacecraft's waste disposal system. That sucks, of all goddamn things.
Yeah, that's the worst time to get like a UTI is when you're
of all things, and now you get a damn UTI.
When you're 250,000 miles from home and you're like, it burns an IP. What am I gonna do?
Yeah, not a whole lot you can do, man.
That's pretty funny. I honestly, when I first saw the movie, I was like, I think it's just one of those things they threw in there just to fuck around with us a little bit. But no, I read that and I was like, holy shit, it actually happened. That is one of the most insane things I've ever seen. So yeah, it's like not only are you maybe about to implode out in the middle of space, 1,000,000 miles from home, but and you got the clap. It's a bad day for you. Bad day for you, Fred Haise. I'm glad you made it home and made a better life, man. If anybody deserved it, it was you.
God, yeah. You got the clap, and the IRS was gonna clap Swigert for some back taxes. You know, that's
right.
Bad news bears all around. I don't have a picture of the gentleman, but we'll go with Ed Harris. Apparently, Brad Pitt turned down an offer to star in this film and instead chose to star in Seven from the same year. I mean, I've still worked out, I think, all things considered. I wonder who he would have been. Like, would he be like maybe Jack Swigert's character, like the younger guy, maybe?
I could have seen him playing Jack Swigert. I mean, at 95, he was certainly young enough. I mean, you're talking about, you know, Meet Mr. Black kind of territory. But it could. I could have potentially seen him playing like Gary Sinise's character, but I don't think he maybe played it as well.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Swigert character is probably the one he was after. But then again, there was a lot of young actors that played. There was a lot of young actors that played Mission Control guys as well. So maybe he could have been one of those guys that was going to. What was he? I don't know. What was he even doing in '95? Where was he in his career? Pitt. I put.
What was he doing?
Because I'm an asshole, I put Bad Pitt. Bad Pitt.
Fight Club was later, right? So that's still not.
I'm pretty sure Fight Club was right around there.
Was that like 97? No, I think it was later. Hold
on. Brad Pitt filmography. So 97, The Devil's Own. Well, this came out in 95. So.
Oh no, I was wrong. Fight Club was 99.
Damn it. In 94, he did Interview with a Vampire and Legends of the Fall. Those are the two that he's probably most known for. In 95,
Interview with a Vampire.
7 and 12 Monkeys. And in 96, 12 Sleepers. And then Meet Joe Black in 98, Fight Club in 99, and on down the line. So,
okay.
Maybe. What had he done before that? Let's see. Less Than Zero. God, I totally forgot about that movie. Heavy Other Cutting Class. Thelma and Louise. Yeah, he did that. Johnny Sway. Cool World.
Yeah.
A River Runs Through It. True Romance. Yeah, he was on his way up at the time. I could have seen him playing probably the Jack Swigert character.
I think Kevin Bacon's character, yeah. Which, ironically, Kevin Bacon being a replacement character in the movie for Ken Mattingly. Kind of funny that he was the one that took over for that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, hey, Seven's a great movie, and I think he played that pretty well. So.
Oh, yeah. That's a good movie. I'm glad. I think he would have done well in this film, but I'm glad that the cards fell where they did. You know, I think we're all better off.
Oh, yeah. I will take that win. Since we can't get enough Bill Paxton, let's do some more. Bill Paxton's line where he says, "I could eat the ass out of a dead rhinoceros," was not said by Fred Haise. It was made up on the day of filming by Gary Busey, of all fucking people, who was visiting the set at that time and thought they thought it would be a good country boy line. Busey had previously said the line in another film he starred in, that little film called Point Break, which we have also done on this channel. Go check that out. That sounds like a very Gary Busey line, so I'll allow it.
Oh, yeah. Dude, Gary Busey, he's the gift that keeps on giving. there's like It's like even when he's like really badly miscast, he is just like so perfect to watch. But yeah, I mean, I love Gary Busey. He's just so great, and that really does sound like a very Gary Busey thing to say.
Oh shit! Speaking of, I'm not paying attention to the chat. I'm so sorry, Dr. Nick, the garbage man. How are you doing? I'm glad you said something. Thank you. Yeah, no. One of my favorite things I just kind of off quote is from Family Guy when they're talking about Bill Paxton. God damn it, talking about Gary Busey, where he's like looking at himself in the mirror. He's like, "How am I doing today, Gary Busey?" And it's just like some fucking whacked out clown snake in the hair version of him. He's like, "You're doing great." He's like, "Good, I'll keep it up." Like, yeah, that's a very, very Gary Busey thing. God damn, we're just gonna keep. You know what? Get back to the crew again, since we can't get enough of Bill Paxton. What could have been John Cusack and Charlie Sheen were originally offered the role of Fred Haise, which we know is played by Bill Paxton, but turned it down. I could see Charlie Sheen doing that. I don't know why. Because he kind of plays that kind of goofy dude. John Cusack kind of does too. He's got a seriousness to him, but he can kind of be kind of silly sometimes. I don't know.
John Cusack, I've always thought he's a much better actor than what he gets credit for. I mean, because I've seen him do some.
Oh yeah.
Because we've all seen him do stuff like I don't know if I've told you about this movie 100 times. I don't know if you've actually watched it. Gross Point Blank. That's kind of where he makes his money, is doing roles like that. But then he'll do something like Con Air, which is slightly more serious, but not quite serious. But then he does a movie like Grace Is Gone, which is, I think, some of his best work. There's no comedy. That's just a pure dramatic piece, and he can really act. We just did Identity recently with him in it.
Yeah,
that's not a very comedic movie at all. It's the horror thriller kind of mystery thing, and he's phenomenal in that movie. So yeah, I've always thought he was great. I could see him doing it. Charlie Sheen, I'm not 100% sure, because in '95 we're still talking about him playing like Major League. So it's like that. So we're still getting. So we still have that. Maybe like Men at Work.
Okay.
Golf clap. It's like we still have that Charlie Sheen. So I don't know if he could have. He is a good actor. Actor.
He was kind of one of the it guys in the '80s, though. So
yeah, but again, I think he was the it guy. I think he was kind of pigeonholed a little typecast, because it wasn't until later in his career, like late '90s into the 2000s, that he started to get some more dramatic stuff. He did that 9/11 movie where he was actually pretty good at it. I'm not gonna lie. I forget the name of it. Him, Whoopi Goldberg, some other things about some of the chaos in and around the World Trade Center as everything was going off. But but yeah, he didn't start doing like really well doing dramatic stuff until a little bit later, after the 2000s. Yeah, it would have been interesting to see either one of them. If not Bill Paxton, of those two, I think John Cusack would have been the better selection.
Yeah,
but
like we were saying with like Brad Pitt, it's like I feel like Sheen could have done like the Swigert character. He could still be the womanizer kind of guy, which I think, winning. Am I right? Tiger's Blood. Shit like that.
I didn't even know the hell the name of that movie was that he was in. Oops, can't type. What the hell was the name of the movie he was in? Filmography. Well, he was also great in Wall Street, by the way, which is a fantastic. Oh yeah, the film is just called 9/11. He plays Jeffrey Cage. It was based in a stage play. I didn't know it was based in a stage play, but yeah, very good.
Okay. Oh Lord Jesus. Okay, we got one last thing here, and since I'm not going to pick either of them, we're going to go with Gary Sinise. Show some love for Gary Sinise. Final bit here I have is Tom Hanks and Bill Paxton turned down roles in Jumanji, which came out the same year, in favor of this film. Hanks' son, Colin Hanks, though, would appear in the later sequels. It all comes full circle. Wait, hold on. Wait.
I wonder what they were going to play in Jumanji. They used the gravity of the moon to bring everything where it was
Yeah.
supposed to be. Yeah, I wonder. I wonder would they have been playing Robin Williams' role in that, because I feel like Jumanji works because of Robin Williams.
Yes.
As
Although,
in,
to be fair, there is a serious tinge to that character. Like, he does do some dramatic shit, albeit he is still, Robin Williams. He's got the. It's not necessarily like comedy in a traditional sense. It's kind of God, not even like physical comedy in a way, but like just the mannerisms and the things that he brings to that kind of role. I don't know. Yeah, Giovanni's a little bit more serious, not just straight comedy, but man, he plays it pretty well.
Yeah, Robin Williams, a lot of the films that he was in, there was a serious tone to them. It's like even kind of a goofy comedy like Mrs. Doubtfire. At its core, it's a father trying to be there for his kids. There's a seriousness at its core, and it's like Dead Poet Society, things like that. I could see Tom Hanks. I could see either one of them doing Jumanji, but I don't see either one of them bringing that unique thing that Robin Williams brought. Tom Hanks has got comedy chops, don't get me wrong. So does Bill Paxton for sure. But yeah, I don't know that either one of them could have done for Jumanji what Robin Williams did. He was
I feel like if I had to choose, I would say Tom Hanks. I feel like he's got a little bit more of that edge that makes it. He can kind of react to that thing. Yeah, monkeys in the kitchen. You got a lion sleeping in your aunt's bedroom. Shit like that. That he could somehow make that kind of funny but still work.
Well, Tom Hanks made his bones early in his career in comedy. Everything from like going all the way back, and I'll show you how old I am, to Bosom Buddies, to the TV show Bosom Buddies that he did a long time ago, which is still funny as hell. But I mean, and then like Splash, Big, on down the line. I mean, even to an extent, League of Their Own, where there's a lot of comedy in that movie. So he has great comedy chops. It wasn't until you get into the 2000s that he started taking a more dramatic turn. You get like he does the Robert Langdon stuff and Angels and Demons and Da Vinci Code, and he is a great dramatic actor. Don't get me wrong. Well, I mean, even back then he did Philadelphia, which is a good dramatic piece. So yeah, so Tom Hanks he's got the comedy. He can get a laugh. So it would be interesting. And Bill Paxton, he was just good at everything. I mean, Bill Paxton.
Yeah. I would gladly jump in a truck and go fucking tornado chasing with him. I mean, any day of the week. All right, well, that's all the trivia I got. So
Bill Paxton was in Stripes too. I totally forgot about that.
Was he really?
Yeah, he's credited as Soldier number 8. So I mean,
I was like, which? He's right there. I can see him. I mean, because I was thinking, well, when did when did what year did Stripes come out?
81.
Okay, because I was thinking like, well, Aliens was like 86 or something. It's not that much longer after. He's got a little bit bigger role.
Well, even in between there, he did Terminator. He did Weird Science.
That's right.
He had a small role in Commando, the Schwarzenegger movie. I did not know that. I'll have to go back and watch that movie. And then the next year did Aliens, and at that point his career was kind of off and running. Next of Kin is a great movie. The one he did with Patrick Swayze. That's a great movie.
Oh, nice. He must have really liked working with Schwarzenegger because he also did True Lies with him in the 90s, where he played the skeezy like used car salesman. So yeah, I don't know.
I totally forgot that Tombstone came out before this movie. I for some reason felt like Tombstone came out after. I don't know why.
It was like 93? Yeah.
Yeah, Tombstone was 93. This was 95.
That's right. He wasn't that too. Yeah. So, yeah, shit. So he was on a roll.
And then Twister makes him an absolute star.
96, a year later, yeah. True.
He was in U-571, which is a really good movie. I think that movie kind of like came and went, but it's actually a really good movie. It's a period piece about them in World War II trying to capture a German U-boat. Very good movie. He's only in the movie for a big part of the first act, and then his character dies. But he's good in it. He plays a bad guy in Vertical Limit, sort of.
Okay.
And then he's in Spy Kids 3D. I forgot about that. He was in Broken Lizard's Club Dread. I forgot about that. Have you ever seen that movie?
Actually, no, he was also in Spy Kids too. I forgot he was actually in those movies. He was Dinky Winks.
Yeah. He has one of the funniest scenes in that Club Dread movie. He plays the guy that owns this island retreat that they're on, and basically he's a Jimmy Buffett wannabe. He like had one hit. He had one hit song called Pina Colada Berg, and that's how he made all his money. So he bought this island, and at this island, basically it's like a big swingers island. You just go there, and it's all drugs and sex and whatever. And so they're sitting around a campfire one night, and he's playing the guitar and singing some songs, and they're just smoking and enjoying the fire in the night and all that. And this one girl looks at him and goes, "Do Margaritaville." And he gets pissed off. He goes, "I'm way better than no talent hack Buffett. Fuck him." He goes, no, it starts off. He goes, "I think you mean my song Pina Colada Berg." She goes, "No, do Margaritaville." And that's when he gets pissed off.
Oh, damn it.
It's hilarious. That's a fun movie. But it's the guys that did Super Troopers. So, I mean, it's going to be funny.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Speaking of Spy Kids 3D, remember I broke everyone's mind when I told you Glenn Powell was in that movie? He's always been a thing. Fight me.
Yeah, he's always been a thing.
He's always been a thing. Fight me. He was in that movie for like fucking 10 seconds, but he was there. I mean, Khan's in that movie too, because he plays the grandfather, so.
True.
Badass character. Yeah, well, like I said, that's all the trivia I got. So,
yeah, I think we've stretched this out long enough.
I think we could have got to the moon by now. Yeah.
So I forgot that Bill Paxton was also in The Circle. That was his last movie he made, which is a weird movie. It's kind of interesting.
Well, thanks everybody for coming to our Bill Paxton appreciation post.
Yeah. Always appreciate Bill Paxton.
Oh yeah. So that's Apollo 13. I don't. Do you have any other thoughts we'd still like to have before we shuttle on back home?
Just go.
You recommend?
Yeah. Watch this movie. It's of the last 50 years of cinema. This is one of the great films. I mean, it's great director, great cast, a very interesting moment in time to talk about and learn about. I mean, I think everybody in some way, shape, or form has been kind of enamored with space, even if it's something as simple as like watching the stars and waiting for a shooting star to come across the sky or something. It's just, I think there's always a little bit of a wonder that comes from looking up at the night sky, and this is one of those movies that kind of tells you why the journey up there is important. It's crazy, it's dangerous, but it's important. You're strapping yourself to 7 tons of explosives and trying to ride the reaction away from a planet that doesn't sound sane. but these guys did it, and this is a very important part of that history, the events of Apollo 13. Not to mention, this movie's just awesome. I mean, even if this was all made up and pretend, I think this would be a wild ass movie to watch. This is the kind of situation where if it didn't happen and I were to describe it to you, you'd be like, you're writing some fiction right now. It's like the craziest movie ever written. But it actually happened. So go learn about it. You're gonna see a lot of great actors, a lot of interesting storytelling. One of the great directors of all time, and just a fantastic time to watch it. So go find it on one of the streaming services and give it a watch. It's totally worth the
time. Yeah, it's it's one hell of a story to look into from whatever angle you want to look into it at. If you want to read up on it, watch a video on it, or I don't know, just for entertainment purposes, watch this movie. I definitely recommend it. I don't think it was free on anything, but I mean, it's worth the like $3 I spent to rent it. I mean, I did it on Amazon, so it's worth a watch if you haven't seen it. Like I said, it'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Because it's like you said, if you even try to tell someone this story with having no context, you'd be like, "What in the holy shit?" Like that sounds insane. Yeah, because crazier things have happened. So I definitely give this a stamp of approval and a recommendation. And I know that list is probably a CVS receipt long, but hey, we like good movies here, and we will tell you to watch good movies. I'll tell you to watch bad movies too, though. To be fair, I'll tell you to watch The Room, unironically. So, or Disaster Artist, because that's a fun double feature. All right, so last thing, some housekeeping stuff. Frank, what have you got going on the internet? I.e., what are we doing?
I don't know. I'm going to figure that out over the weekend. But well, I don't think there was any new releases coming out this weekend that were really blowing me away. I'd have to look to be sure. But yeah, we'll do something on Tuesday. If not just a retro review, then I'll find something that has come out that blows me away, and I want to talk about it. But yeah, we'll be back here on Tuesday doing something. We'll figure that out. And then Thursday, whatever Jeremy wants to do, maybe we'll get. We were talking about some like rando horror movies after we got done with the stream Tuesday night, and we're going to save some of them for the spooky season for October to make those to make the good make Halloween the best, make the October month the scary month the best it can be. But yeah, I mean we'll dig into some more obscure Halloweeny scary stuff as time goes on. It's nice having obviously Jeremy around, but Tex as well, because it makes me go look at some of this more obscure horror stuff that I maybe have missed over the years. Because, like I said, to me, horror kind of died in the mid '90s, didn't come back until about 15 years ago. But going back and finding some of these really obscure things, it's a reminder that low budget is where good horror lives. So I'm rediscovering some of these obscure things I didn't even hear about from like the late 90s and early 2000s that are still good, watchable, fun movies. Not Oscar winner, but still fun to watch, worth talking about. So we'll find something to talk about on Tuesday, I'm sure.
Yes, I have also seen some wild movies that are low budget. I mean, horror movies in that respect. Weird things, because I mean, sometimes you just like to be entertained by a sentient tire that comes to life and kills people. That's a real movie.
It's all in the writing. Your one line of dialogue from explaining why that sentient tire makes perfect sense.
Yeah, sure. Or Zombie Sheep. I watched that. See,
when someone comes to me and asks me, "Have you seen Black Sheep?" I'm like, the comedy with Chris Farley?
No, dude. I was like, oh. Do I want to know what this is? And then I get handed a DVD case 2 days later where I'm like, what the fuck? I think I said, what the hell is this? And I think I still said, what the hell was that? After it ended. So, yeah. So I don't know. If we do some stuff like that, I'd be down for it. Spooky season is upon us. So
that means I get balls ass busy here in about a month.
Actually, literally, yeah, about a month. I think I'll be back to it. Mid-September is like right around the corner. That's a sneeze away, as they say. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. Yeah, but we'll be back here Tuesday figuring something out. I don't know what it'll be, but we'll get you something. Don't worry. Don't you worry, kids. Frank will come in for the save at the last minute, like he did today. So.
Yep.
All right. Well, you can play me out. So we'll see you guys Tuesday with whatever the actual hell we're doing. So
we'll be here. That's the important part. Was that thing playing the whole time? That's awesome.
I don't know, but there's your thumbnail. It's okay. It's not like we have any sort of set rules for this. We just kind of fly by the seat of our pants.
I want to say that's a pretty cool thumbnail I put together too. Kind of proud of myself for that one.
It's kind of comic booky. I kind of like it.
Well, I kind of like the idea of the collage. I've done it a few times on some other stuff. I like the way it turned out, but it takes a little more time to put together. But I was like, Jeremy is running the show on this one. I got a little more time to put into it, so I'm going to make it look cool.
It's like putting together a space program or something.
Damn right. Well, I mean, maybe not so complicated, but I mean,
yeah.
But I'll take the credit if I can get it.
Oh, I got you. Goodbye, everybody.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.